I am a frustrated minimalist living in a home with 3 people who are not, and that's okay. My home will never be a minimalist home, and I've made peace with that. However, the principles of minimalism do help me save money every single day. Here are 11 minimalist money tips that can help you save big time. First of all, less is more. Frugality and minimalism truly go hand in hand. You'll find once you start picking up frugal habits, you also end up picking up minimalist habits. You stop overspending on stuff that you don't really need, and your home becomes less cluttered with stuff that isn't adding any value for you. Minimalist homes and minimalist wardrobes are all about simplicity. Clean lines, using colour as an accent, very much a less is more principle. And that very much applies to your finances as well. When you spend less than what you make, you free yourself from debt, you're able to save more towards your future, and you also free yourself from those money stresses that can hit every single month just before payday. Common triggers for excess spending include spending to keep up with trends, keep up with the Joneses, and also spending to make us feel good in the moment. But I found that when I spend less so that I can focus my budget in on the things that really matter to me, life is so much better. The next tip is to buy for life. The word frugal is often misunderstood to mean cheap, tight, and penny pinching. It really isn't. It's about seeking out best value for your money. And that doesn't necessarily mean finding the cheapest thing. It's about focusing on buying quality essentials that are good value for money. And when we bring minimalism into it, it's about buying long-lasting quality items that bring us joy and not filling our homes with poor quality stuff that just adds clutter. Ultimately, if you penny pinch on large household items such as your dishwasher or your washing machine, then you may find that you have to replace those things far more frequently. The cheapest item isn't always the best place to put your money. Now, obviously on the other side of the spectrum, that doesn't mean that the most expensive item on the market is the best one. It's just that the cheapest model is rarely the one that is going to give you best value. It's rarely the one that is going to last the longest. And this is where it just comes down to simple research. Where is the sweet spot between what you can afford and what is going to last a really long time and give you the best value for every single penny? And when we start talking about wants, the things that you don't actually need to live, like food and the practical things in your home that you use every day. When we talk about wants, like things like new clothes and new decor for your home, it's about buying things that we feel we will love for a long time. For example, I don't know if you've ever done this before, but when you've got an event coming up, say a night out with friends, a meal out with friends, or a wedding, you rush out to the shops and you kind of just carelessly end up buying something that you feel like, well, that will do, but you don't really love it. And then you wear it for that one event and you never wear it again. Bargain stores have really encouraged us to start bringing just hauls of super cheap goods home with us. This will just be like general tat and household stuff, extra cleaning supplies that we really don't need. Instead of thinking it's cheap, so it's a bargain, start thinking I need it, so I'm gonna seek out a bargain. What is the best price I can get for the best quality item that I actually need? This leads us nicely to needs over wants. Minimalists consider each item of their spending, and this helps them to be clear about what is a need and what is a want. And as part of this, it's also about seeking out best value for money. For example, clothes are obviously a need, but minimalists seek out practical pieces that they will wear a lot rather than fast fashion. Exercise is a need, but a minimalist will go for a run nearby their home rather than take out an expensive gym membership that they can't afford. It's not about giving up all joy, it's about focusing your budget on the things that are truly important to you. And it's also about being content with what you have. Ultimately, this approach helps you to stay out of debt because you're avoiding impulse purchases that might tip you into the red. The next tip is to organize your pantry. I call it a pantry, but like here in the UK, like a pantry is a bit of a luxury. Most homes, we just have kitchen cupboards. So what I'm talking about here is making sure that you've organized your food. Organize your kitchen so that you know exactly where things are. This means that you can easily do stock checks, which makes meal planning much easier because you can see what you've already got, make a plan to use that up. It means that you won't spend money on buying new food that you don't actually need. And if things are organized into categories so you know exactly where they are, you can regularly check to see what you've got before you head to the supermarket. Having cupboards that do not become a black hole where food goes to die, literally, is so important to avoiding overspending on food. Same thing goes for your fridge, same thing goes for your freezer. My next minimalist money tip is to apply the rule of 3. You can apply the rule of 3 to multiple areas of your life to prevent you from overspending and buying stuff you don't really need. The basic idea of it is that you have one you use, one that's in the wash, and one that's spare. Here's an example of that: bedding. You can have one set of sheets on your bed, maybe one is in the wash and one is in the cupboard just in case. You can apply this to towels, kids' clothes, all kinds of things. The idea of it is that it stops you from impulse purchasing. If you see a set of sheets that you like, you can think to yourself, no, I've already got 3, I don't need any more, cluttering up the cupboards. Now look, this isn't about making you rush out to buy 2 more sets of bedding. If you're getting on just fine with 1 set of bedding, that is great. It's just about stopping you from buying any more that you don't actually need. Excess stuff clutters your home, and when you don't really need it, it's just wasted money. Plan before you shop. Part of minimalism is having a purpose for everything in your life. There is no excess. So when we apply this to our spending habits, it means that we plan before we shop. You think about what you actually need and then you stick to that plan. This is called intentional spending, and it is so important, especially if you're on a tight budget, to help you live below your means. It means you're making considered purchases, stuff that you really need or stuff that is really going to bring you joy and is going to give you a decent return for your money. And this is where things like working out the cost per wear or cost per use can come in really, really useful. For example, if I see a pair of jeans that I really, really like, I know that I'm going to wear jeans pretty regularly. So say they are $50 and I know that I am going to wear them at least 3 times a week for the rest of the year and beyond. I know that the cost per wear is looking pretty good, versus if I buy a dress for nights out when I know that I already have a wardrobe full of dresses. If that costs $50 and I think, hey, like I might wear this once, maybe twice this year, I know that the cost per use is really, really not stacking up in the dress's favor. So it can just help you to swerve certain spending decisions and help you save a bit of money. Next tip is to audit your wardrobe at least once a year. A good wardrobe audit is a fantastic way to remind yourself of what you have, clear out any things that you are not wearing anymore, and also sell those on so that you can make a little bit of extra money. I've said on here before that I used to be such a terrible impulse purchaser. I would see something that I liked and I would just buy it with not really much thought to how often I was going to wear it, what the cost was, or even really without like paying any attention at all to my bank balance. And the thing I found with this is it often spirals. So say you buy a new dress, you then realise that you have no shoes to go with it, so you have to buy some new shoes. And then you realise that you have no coat that goes with the dress, so then you have to buy a new coat. And then you realise that you have no handbag that goes with it, and so then you have to buy a new handbag. And all of a sudden what was one impulse purchase turns into several. I'm now much more focused on putting together a capsule wardrobe. So this is where I buy things that I know will go with stuff that I already have. Whenever I buy something, I have a clear plan for how many outfits I can make out of that with the things that are already in my wardrobe. I like to look for things that work together well in harmony with what I already have. Look after your stuff. Part of minimalism is that you make the most of the things that you have. And it's the same with frugality. We don't want to spend our hard-earned money on something only to lose it or break it or damage it in some way after just a few weeks. For example, taking care of my eldest daughter's clothes and shoes has meant that every single year I have a whole new wardrobe to pass on down to her little sister. Only buy to replace. When I think of this tip, I think of that scene in Confessions of a Shopaholic where Isla Fisher's character, like her wardrobe gets opened and clothes just like rain down all over the room. She didn't buy to replace, she just bought. It is a super funny movie though. My point is that when you buy something new, buy it to replace something that has run out, that doesn't fit anymore, or that has served its purpose. And that includes things like makeup and personal care items. It can be so easy to end up with like 10 different moisturizers. These days I'll only replace things like a mascara or concealer when the thing that I was just using has run out. And this also leads to less clutter. Edit your email subscriptions. Now with minimalism, the focus is often on physical clutter, but it's also about digital clutter as well. And this can be applied to your finances too. Your email inbox can be a scary place, and that's not just because of the thousands of unread emails in there, but it's also because it's full of emails asking you to spend, tempting you to spend. Most brands put a ton of effort into email marketing because they know it is a great way to speak directly to you, the consumer, and get you to part with your money. They communicate with you about new products, sales. It works out much better for them than a social media algorithm because they know they're being delivered direct into your inbox. So take a minimalist approach to your email inbox and start unsubscribing from brands that you really don't want to hear from. Set yourself a challenge and say, I'm going to unsubscribe to one of these emails every single day. I've been doing this, and honestly, my email already is so much better, so much less cluttered. My final tip is to help you cut back on your supermarket spending, and it's just a fun little challenge that you can try. When you have filled your trolley at the supermarket, look for one item that you can put back. This can be a really good way of focusing your mind on the things that you really need in the shopping trolley, and it also saves you a few pennies on every visit. For me, it can be that extra bag of snacks, or it can be that impulse purchase on a new cleaning spray. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for lots more money saving tips from me.